Operation Consultant in Private Equity. 10 things you need to know. Private equity firms are asset management organizations that aggregate cash from elevated individual people and institutional investors to buy private enterprises. Careers in private equity are among the most sought after and competitive in the finance industry. But first, if you are new here, consider subscribing to this channel to continue receiving great weekly videos on consulting. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can get informed every time I publish a new video. The equity or stake in a firm that is not registered or sold on the public exchange is known as venture capital. Venture capital is a type of debt financing raised from elevated people and firms to purchase private company interests, either acquire accountability of government firms in time to capture businesses privately and delist them from trading platforms. The investment banking industry comprises retail investors, including private pensions and big venture capital (PE) companies, supported by authorized individuals. Because wealth management demands a big monetary outlay for foreign investors to have control or authority over such a firm's management, it is dominated by corporations with deep pockets. Here are 10 things people should know about private equity operation consultants. Private equity industry. The venture capital market attracts the brightest and finest business, including top executives from S&P 500 firms and well-known management consulting organizations. Venture capital businesses exist in a wide range of sizes and shapes. The investing preference of private equity (PE) firms are diverse. Some are rigid bankers or passive capitalists who rely on leadership to build the business and make profits. Other investment banking (PE) firms consider themselves active investors, since sellers often perceive this as a commoditized strategy. That is, they offer support services to management to make the organization flourish and grow. Vibrant venture capital (PE) companies may have a large contact list and C-level ties inside a certain industry, such as CEOs and CFOs, which can help generate revenue. They could also know how to maximize operational savings and benefits. Sellers are more likely to see an investor positively if they can add something unique selling, which always increases the firm's worth before time. In venture capital corporations, all of the assets people give are exclusively available for authorized investors and might involve a small group involving purchasers. In the meantime, the fund's founders might often own a significant portion of the company. What is private equity and how it contributes positively? Firms that specialize in private equity (PE) provide two important functions. The deal's inception, establishing, maintaining and building connections with mergers, intermediation, banks and other transactional professionals to guarantee both elevated and rising deal streams is the goal of transaction originating. For investment review, the purpose of dealing prospects is sent to venture capital (PE) professionals. Furthermore, many businesses employ corporate workers to locate and engage big companies to generate transactional leads. Lastly, finding exclusivity transactions in a challenging economic environment helps ensure the funds obtained are appropriately used but utilized. Domestic sourcing activities can further lower transaction costs by eliminating the fees charged by the investment banking middlemen. In addition, when investment banking experts represent the customer, they typically conduct a full auction procedure, which might reduce the customer's possibilities of owning a business. Consequently, to get a leg up on a deal creators aim to build a good connection with transactional professionals. It's worth noting that financial institutions frequently raise their resources and hence might be both a deal reference and a rival bidder. To put it another way, certain financial institutions compete with foreign currency equity firms to acquire good businesses. When both participants decide to move forward, the acquisition specialist enlists the help of several process specialists, such as financial advisors, auditors, prosecutors, and advisors to complete the due diligence step. Reinforcing management's reported operational and financial numbers is part of due diligence. In addition, consultants can find agreements such as huge and before hidden obligations and risks during this stage of the transaction. There are numerous venture capital investment methods to choose from, including mergers and acquisitions or venture capital expenditure. Leveraged buyouts are a type of leveraged buyout, LBOs. The acquirer wants to buy the target with money provided by using the target as collateral. Acquiring investment banking firms may manage a business for such a proportion of an acquisition price using a share buyback. As a result, private investors want to leverage their investment to maximize their prospective returns. Venture capital. Entrepreneurial capital is defined as an asset sale in a young business in a less recognized field. Private companies will commonly see potential in an industry and, more importantly, inside the acquiring company itself. Understanding that it is hampered by lack of income, operating cash or debt financing, investing firms may make significant investments in these enterprises to turn companies into leading companies. Moreover, management and supervision assist the attackers in experienced management through the procedure. Administration and oversight. Supervision and administration are indeed the second biggest responsibilities of venture capital professionals. Consultants might, for instance, teach a startup company's management panel about quality standards in strategic finance and financial administration, among many other aspects. Consultants can help with both the launch of innovative accounting, purchasing IT procedures to help them get the most from their money. Whenever people focus on larger organizations, investment banking firms think they have the ability and knowledge to turn around underperforming enterprises through enhancing operational efficiencies and thus earnings. Although private equity firms also attempt to manage the objectives. The main source of wealth creation in venture capital is indeed the collaboration of corporate managements within those firms or its shareholders. In addition, venture capital companies take public companies private to avoid frequent media criticism of positive profit and compliance costs, allowing them and the purchased firm's leadership to focus on their core competencies. Investing in the future. Growing and developing a center firm and selling it to a major organization for a large profit is a frequent exit strategy for private equity, PE. The aforementioned huge wealth management experts usually concentrate on projects with business values, EVs, in the thousands of euros, because the greatest people tend towards bigger deals. The middle market is severely neglected. There are many more vendors than experienced and very well-financed experts with extensive buyer contacts and the resources needed to complete a sale. Private equity investors require a leadership team that is reliable, competent and dependable. The majority of portfolio company managers are compensated through bonuses. They have mechanisms in place that reward them for achieving financial goals. Before a party's plans can complete a contract, both parties' purposes must be aligned. Investing in private equity is a great way to diversify your portfolio. For people who can't invest millions of dollars, private equity, PE, is generally out of the question. But it shouldn't be. Even though most venture capital investment possibilities demand capital investments, there are still some options for smaller, fewer venture capitalists. Several venture capital investment firms, also known as business developers, offer publicly listed stock, allowing typical members to invest in the venture capital market. A transaction fund that owns shares in private equity firms, such as within each global listed private equity, is another option for average investors. Crowdfunding and private equity. Entrepreneurs can raise funds through private equity crowdfunding in exchange for a portion of the business. The investor is offered financing or equity. Private equity crowdsourcing is frequently abbreviated as equity crowdfunding. Companies can use crowdfunding to raise funds in the same way individuals can use GoFundMe to raise funds for causes. WeFunder, Google Analytics, Crowdfunding Campaign, Seed Invest and Circle Up are examples of online equity crowdfunding platforms. However, to get a private equity crowdsourcing investment, entrepreneurs and businesses must typically give up stock. Regulations have been set by the Securities and Exchange Commission to allow companies to obtain money. There are rules in place such as limitations on the total amount of money invested and the range of individual investors participating. Despite billions under management, venture capital firms are becoming meaningful financial solutions among affluent people and organizations. Understanding what venture capital is or how profit is made in these deals is the first part of building an investment vehicle less approachable. So because the market draws the best and brightest in large corporations, venture capital PE firms often effectively manage investment capital and enhance their business unit's price. Nevertheless, there is fierce rivalry in the financial market for excellent investors to acquire. A career in investment banking may be both economically and rewarding work. Private equity managers frequently take considerable pride in successfully guiding their portfolio firms to new highs in revenue. Arriving as an applicant at a firm with an MBA degree and several years of work experience in the banking industry can help you get a leg up on the competition in the private equity industry. If you like the video, give us a like to make more videos like this one, and tell us in the comment section below what type of videos you want. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more weekly videos.